By the way, I have to correct the record a little bit. I'm always telling the audience, ask the next question. And yesterday I asked the wrong next question. I asked, so still give me some credit. I did ask.
You still asked the question.
I just asked the wrong question. I went to AI and I was asking how much of that $1.776 billion slush fund, right? I asked how much of the budget of the IRS is that to be putting out to Trump? But the IRS and the Department of Justice stuff was together. So I conflated. Now, the IRS, the deal is the first person and family in the history of this country that's ever gotten this deal. From the time that was signed backward, the IRS cannot audit any Trump family member. That part was real. The slush fund actually came out of the Department of Justice. So it's going to come out of that money, not the IRS budget. It comes out of the Department of Justice budget. And I was amazed because if I was right with the wrong question, it was going to be 14% of the IRS budget. Turns out it's 2% of the Department of Justice budget, which is a lot less than 14, but is still a hell of a lot of what a budget, a yearly budget is for a department. But I did want to correct the record there. I asked the wrong question. I asked the wrong next question.
Now, I see the line of being busted. Are you over the line of being busted or not?
Yeah, I'm busted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Eric, you've been busted.
Told by consultants for years, never tell the audience that you got something wrong.
Yeah, they're a bunch of dopes.
Yeah, that's the first thing. So they don't. He said they don't want to know that. They don't want to know that their favorite radio host can get things wrong. And I immediately rejected that. I said, look, I don't know who you usually work with, but I know myself, and I'm going to be wrong a lot. So I need to just own it. Maybe you've worked with perfect people up to now, but
I love it when we're wrong because it's like a group of people. You're with your friends. You're all sitting around a campfire drinking some beers. You're gonna get things wrong, and then the audience could go, idiot. But that's,
and as the show goes on, it's like we get more inebriated, right?
Yeah.
So things get more and more wrong.
It's so once I realized that I got something wrong, and it's always like driving. Yesterday, it didn't happen until I got home. And I'm saying, I thought the show was great yesterday. I could never, ever have a great night, great night. Because I thought, it's a good show, and it's on YouTube, and I'm just enjoying myself, and, I am that gummy over there. Boy, why not? And what a cap off a great day. And then I start thinking, and I go, maybe that was wrong. Uh-oh. And then I got to go look at. And then once I find out that I was wrong with something that I said, I have to wait hours and sleep on it. And then wake up the next day. And then in my mind, it's going to take that. I'm trying to catch up with the person who was listening and in the moment said, you're an idiot. That's wrong. Like I'm thinking of it like a race. And that guy's or gal's got they've got such a head start on me. They knew I was wrong hours and hours ago. Now I know I'm wrong and I can't address it for hours and hours.
I have a prescription for that.
Is it called Xanax?
No. Well, that would help.
Yeah.
But just log into the old Facebook and say, oops, I made a mistake today.
Everyone knows I'm not on Facebook.
I know, but you could log in, put it there, don't look at the replies, and then it's off your conscience.
You feel better. Or start up a live stream.
You know what you could do?
Yes.
Write it down and then put it in a fire.
Yeah.
Now, kind of the same thing from that new song by Ringo Starr. That's why I
put it in the fire.
No, he says
that's where all your fan mail's going.
He says in and out. He said
in one ear and out the other.
No, and I didn't want to. He said if something is real or whatever, you think about it, but then you just let it go.
Yeah.
He goes in and out, in and out. In and out, and that's what I was trying to do last.
The old in out and out.
With this, I was going in Ringo's voice. I was in and out. And out.
And if it really bothers you, you do have that trippy setup at your house where you can go live with that little Windows 98 background.
Oh, yeah.
You can go there and just do a little live stream and correct
it. By the way, me and 3 people, because no one would expect me to ever show up doing that.
It would be added value. The listeners would love it.
That should be the YouTube thing that I do.
Yes.
Eric corrects Eric.
Yeah.
Eric corrects Eric. And so every day after the show, I just go there. I get 6 hours after the show's over.
Yeah.
Right. Last thing I do before I go to bed is
so it'd be at 1 a.m.
No,
if it's 6 hours out.
No. Is it 6? Yeah, it shouldn't be 6 hours. Usually, I know I've said something wrong by 10. So if we get to 11 and I realize after that, but maybe it's like Eric corrects Eric. These are the things that I got wrong today. Although you have to correct it in a time frame where the people would have heard it from the first time. But probably because of my popularity, it would just go viral, right? So everybody would
100%.
know by the time I got here. And to me, viral is like 75 people or more.
Like Jared. Jared actually goes viral, though. I never do.
Yeah, well, listen, there was a time where that you would be happy. You would point to another guy and go, sometimes he goes viral, but I never do. That would be a very positive
Yeah, that's a
thing.
good thing.
It's true.
He doesn't use
Especially in the
protection.
80s.
For some reason, he says it's not comfortable. He doesn't, but then
She
I'm
told
like,
me she was protected.
yeah, but is the syphilis worth it? I don't know. He says yes. He says yes. Who am I to
Sometimes it is.
Can you imagine somebody thinking
She was that hot.
She was that hot.
Yeah.
It was worth it. It was worth it. Yeah.
Just a shot.
Happy to say, never visited these loins. Thank you very much. Never.
Now, what would you call that segment
And by
again?
the way, I'm really glad that I had cystic acne when I was a teenager, because if I had not had cystic acne, because there was two things I had as a teenager: cystic acne and really, really, really dumb. So if you remove the cystic acne, probably I would have gotten.
Were you dumb or a lunkhead?
I think
Because
a
those
lung-
things aren't the same. Like you're
I
smart.
think about-
you're smart now, so you weren't dumb when you were a kid.
I don't know. It's amazing to me. With my friend Stefan, who knew me from the time I was about 19, I talk about this a lot. We talk about it. It's like, I don't know how I could have been so dumb when I was young. It's a mystery to me, because I left home when I was 15. Every other aspect of my life, I was growing up far too quickly. Everything happened to me long before it was supposed to happen, right? But you'd think that life experience, I would have had street sense, common sense, but I had none of that. I was really, really ignorant I don't know. I didn't really start putting things together, understanding how to be objective. And, I dropped out of the 9th grade, so I didn't get a whole lot. I kind of had to learn this stuff on my own, I guess. But you just would have thought, by leaving my home at 15, moving in with 2 Vietnam vets and my sister, being a part of the adult world like that so quickly, that I would have been, just street smart or with all. But I was not. I was a very, very dumb. Like when I first started doing stand-up comedy, some of the best advice I got, I didn't take at the time, because I thought, you know what you're talking about. But this person really knew what they were talking about. They told me, you need to expand your vocabulary, because you're up there and you're talking and you're not using enough words and vocabulary to be interesting while you're up there. And that was absolutely correct. But I don't know where along the lines I began to expand my vocabulary or anything like that. I was just really, it's a mystery to me how I could have been so ahead of my time in the adult world and yet have been so ignorant and just unable to figure out the world. I had no insight. I guess that's what I could say. I had no insight.
And in that instance, mentally you had to just not care, because you weren't curious. You were just, I'm just
No,
here.
but I was. That's the thing. I was going on stage. I was trying
No,
to.
before that.
Right.
Before that, you were just kind of that 15
Well,
to 19.
no, when I was 15, it was
He
just,
was like,
I'm
here.
I'm good. Yeah, it's just, I lived in a house where we took the pot off the top of the refrigerator when we woke up and would put it up there right before we went to bed the next day. So, yeah, my brain was kind of swimming in other things other than knowledge at
But look,
the time.
look, you ended up in the right place, right?
That's
You're in
right.
the place that you love right now.
That's right. I'm in the place that I love, working with Autumn Fisher every
Yeah.
single day.
Yep,
It
that's
all,
me.
It all worked out. Look who's with us again. It's Ashley Fratt.